April 2025 saw new music releases from critical darlings like Viagra Boys and country music royalty Willie Nelson, but neither of those artists won the month. For that, we are headed to a Nashville American Legion Hall where two legendary bluegrass guitarists showed the music world how it's done. Billy Strings and Bryan Sutton live at the Legion. I'm a huge Billy Strings fan, and that should be taken into account for the next 2.5 minutes, so get your grain of salt ready. That said, he is the best all-around musician of the past 20 years, and it's really not even close. I could qualify it by limiting it to traditional music or Americana music, but I won't. Here is the rundown. He's the best guitar player on the planet. He has an undeniable talent for songwriting. He's an incredible soloist, but somehow his rhythm playing is even better. His live shows always deliver the highest level of musicianship and fun. Legendary artists from nearly every type of music have rushed to enter his orbit, and maybe, most importantly, each LP he releases is better than the last. Now, I don't think this particular album is better than his most recent studio album, Highway Prayers, but it's not really meant to be. This was recorded during a single performance and released almost in passing. It's more of a snapshot than a masterwork. Along with Bryan Sutton, Billy Strings puts on an 88-minute flat-picking masterclass. Now, Sutton has turned up with nearly every artist of consequence in the bluegrass world since being tapped by Ricky Skaggs in the late 1990s. You don't end up playing with Hot Rise, Sam Bush, Chris Thile, and Bella Fleck without real chops. And while Billy Strings has expanded his music into dozens of different directions, this album represents a very simple concept: sitting down with another great player and just trading tunes and licks. There are too many highlights to mention, but I'll point to Walk On Boy as a great example of the loose fun that was had that night. The album is just such a joy to experience. There's lots of banter. There's a funny story at the top about Nashville traffic. Also, look at the 12-month stretch that led to this release. Strings released a studio LP, a live album, double album, was a guest on Ringo Starr's new album, and showed up at the CBS special for that CBS performance for that release. And he won yet another Grammy. I cannot recommend this full album experience highly enough. I don't throw around titles like Most Important Musician Alive lightly. Many people already know this about Strings, but if you are not one of those people, now's the time to jump on the train. Bon Iver, SABLE Fable. This is a slow burn, but once the chorus of Everything is Peaceful Love hit, I was 100% bought in. Justin Vernon's legacy will be interesting to see unfold. He certainly gets plenty of critical love and has one of the more curious guest appearance sections of any anointed indie rock royalty in recent history. He's popped up on tracks with St. Vincent, Eminem, Travis Scott, multiple times with Travis Scott, Charlie XCX, Zach Bryan, Kanye West, back when that was still something people would do and care about. However, a quick scroll through a Reddit search of Bon Iver exposes the complex nature of his lasting cultural effect. Maybe this is what happens when a debut album subtly shifts the earth, like For Emma Forever Ago did, nearly 20 years ago, by the way. Yikes. I have been aware of Vernon's story more than his music for much of his career, despite the fact that I've seen him live 3 times. I should know more about him, but I don't. However, overall, SABLE Fable swells and recedes in such a unique way that it really is undeniable. Julien Baker and Torres, send a prayer my way. Critical reception for this ran the gamut, with many reviewers landing firmly in the 4 out of 5 star range, but a handful were a bit tepid on it. Stephen Hayden put it in his top 10 most disappointing mini list and said, "You forgot about this album until I mentioned it here." Granted, it's a quiet album and stands in stark contrast to the more shimmery versions of this genre that sell out stadiums and pull crazy streaming numbers. I see it more as an example of artists who love some country music making an album rather than a real country album. That doesn't sound like a compliment. I mean it as a compliment. The songs ooze with authenticity and have great vocal harmonies throughout. The songwriting approach and arrangements allow the music to breathe, and that's not easy. In 30 years, I believe everyone will look back on Julien Baker's career and really marvel. Her solo work will likely carry much of that water. Her work with Boy Genius will be her basement tapes, but this album and any subsequent releases from this duo might be relegated to cult status. That's more reflective of the world's expectations of what this music should be. I don't understand how you listen to this and not love it. I believe that finding new music is too important to trust to a playlist or an algorithm. If you want real music recommendations from an actual human that literally listens to 1,000 new releases every year, I have a free weekly newsletter focused on finding new music to love. Link is in the description. I listen to these albums as part of my project to hear 1,000 new releases from 2025. Here is a quick speed round of some of the other notable albums I checked out. The Convenience, like Cartoon Vampires. A New Orleans duo that gives post-rock a good name. This is really a type of record, but the weird mix of disjointed structure, tight rhythms, and slight hints of sugary pop wonder really works. Little Barry, Electric War. Barry Cadigan, hope I'm saying that right, wrote the bluesy whammy bar lace guitar that served as the theme for the TV show Better Call Saul. This release slots more into the 1960s garage sound. The in the room vibe dips into a handful of styles and is just a ton of fun. Turnpike Troubadours, The Price of Admission. Really solid Americana music that's not aiming for the arenas. A lot of mid-tempo bummers in here, but picks up in the back end. Overall, the highlights outshine the deficiencies. Other than the album art, it might be one of the worst album covers I've seen in the past 5 to 10 years. Just, come on, do better. Here are some releases on the didn't work for me tip. Viagra Boys. Viagra Boys, I guess how you say it. For me, this somehow manages to be unmistakably great, but also immediately forgettable. Maybe I just don't get the joke, but I have no clue why they're such critical darlings. Willie Nelson, Oh, What a Beautiful World. I love Willie Nelson, but it feels a bit like he is just trying to get to 100 solo studio albums. Rodney Crowell wrote these songs, and the songs are fine. Let's check in on Corndog Country with 2 staggeringly annoying pieces of work. John Party, Honky Tonk Hollywood. I once got punched in a club while people were doing some kind of line dance. It may have been the Macarena, to show my age a little bit, but that was a more enjoyable experience and a more enjoyable time than listening to this high-gloss, pre-packaged piece of shit. I think the album art might be AI. I mean, I hope it is. He's wearing a Canadian tuxedo with this perfect Stetson cowboy hat. He has a guitar strap with his last name on it. The performance video for Boots Off is just beyond belief. I'm not sure why he's famous, but I know for sure it's not due to his dancing ability. As bad as that is, Ian Musick, Eagle Feather. The album art, again, told me it was going to be tough. If this guy Munsick was a dog, he would make songs about being part wolf. Here's a lyric. This cowboy breaks horses, not hearts. He sang that on an album. He has a song called Stampede and an Advice from My Dad song. Of course, there's a drinking song. And that's it for April. Here are the numbers. So Solid Red Light, 0. Should have been some of that Corndog Country stuff, but you know what? They do just enough musically to keep it out of like, I don't believe this is music. Yellow Turning Red, 9. Solid Yellow, 59. Green Turning Yellow, 15. Solid Green, 3 for a total of 86. That brings our total for the year. Solid Red, 4. Yellow Turning Red, 24. Solid Yellow, 158. Green Turning Yellow, 63. Solid Green, 9 for a grand total of 258 albums listened to in the first 4 months of 2025. Got some work to do, but it's going to be all right. Thank you for watching. Until next time, find some great music and play it loud.